So here we are ready to do a sale from my cocaine business. And again, this is the cheapest one you can buy. It's right next to that circle near the Alamo Sea. It's a very good location, I think, because it's very easy to spot. Do a refill first. And it's motorcycles. Good. Just going to listen to what he's got to say.
We gonna make this sale? Okay. We got the coke in your saddlebags. Just ride over and make the drop.
Okay, so this is the sale where you're going to get ambushed when you get there. If you're doing with a bunch of friends, there's no point in all of you getting ambushed. What you do is one person can go over and trigger the ambush, while the other ones basically avoid getting attacked and then head straight for the new location when they can. If they want to, they can get rid of their stars by calling Lester. What I'm going to do here is get somewhere near where I'm heading, and then I'm going to call in my oppressor, use the oppressor to trigger the attack, and then see where they redirect me to. And it's probably going to be somewhere near the city because this is delivering to the city area. So I'm going to park up here. Before I get off the bike, I want to mark the location I'm going to. Because as soon as I get off the bike, I lose my yellow marker. Now I call in my oppressor. Right there. And I'm going to use the oppressor to trigger the attack. There is another motorbike delivery which comes up actually more frequently than this one. It seems to me about 3 times as often. At least 2 to 3 times as often. Which is driving the motorbike into the back of a truck. And on that one you'll get 4 bikes but 4 different delivery locations. It's actually a little bit easier than this one. The total driving distance is usually around 20 miles. It's around 5 miles per bike, but it can vary. But it's going to be impossible if you don't have an oppressor or some way to quickly get back to your business, because all the vehicles are parked right outside the business. Of course, if you're doing it with a team of friends, that's not going to be possible at all. So all I'm doing here is triggering the attack. I don't think I actually have to kill all the policemen here, but I'm gonna. And then I'm going to fly back to my bike, losing my stars as I go, and watching out for helicopters, because with 3 stars there will be helicopters about. The guys on the ground aren't going to spot me, but the helicopters will. Right now I'm flying directly towards the 3 bikes that are still outside my business. Someone on the ground. Not seeing any helicopters. Those guys on the ground are not going to spot me. And if I get all the way back before those stars vanish, then I could call Lester to cancel the stars, but I don't need to, see? They've gone before I even got back and nobody spotted me. So now I'm going to get on a new motorbike, drive that one all the way to final drop. I can pick up that first one I had later on. And all the bikes go to the same location. So I now have a new delivery location. It wasn't the same as the original one. That's why I didn't want to drive the first bike too close in case I end up going on a side road somewhere else. There's some sort of one they have delivery over by Chumash, and if I got too close into the city, it wouldn't have helped me. I'd just have to drive away back out again. So really now, this is just a nice bike ride in the sun. There's no pressure now. I'm just driving to a delivery point, going to get another bike. But I will have to use my presser 3 more times to get back to each of the bikes. You see, I've got a bike up there in the hills somewhere, but I'm actually heading over here to the coast along Route 68. And I think this is a favourite alternate delivery point, but I haven't done this, or haven't mapped this frequently enough to be sure where the final delivery was going to end up being. But I think it's going to be behind the shops at Chumash, near the bunker I own on my other character. You can, by the way, when driving on a bike, on these bikes, you can, whoop, and I did exactly what I was trying not to do. You can go a little bit faster if you lean over the handlebars. Yeah, driving into me doesn't get you there any faster, you jerk. Okay, so you hear the speed of the engine. Goes up a little bit when you're leaning forward over the handlebars, kind of reducing your drag. It's not necessary, and it can be a little bit awkward. I do it sometimes, but I've done plenty of these deliveries without leaning over the handlebars and having a panic about it. It's easy when you're going straight. When you're trying to turn, it becomes a little bit more awkward to hold the controller, and of course I'm using the controller for this job because it's just so much easier to control a motorbike or a car if you're not trying to shoot somebody at the same time. That's actually my horn going off. And there indeed is my drop point, just behind the shops at Chumash. So I'm going to want to nip in here, around the corner. There's my drop. And I'm going to go this way a little bit before I call in my bike. And they're going to put it way over there. So it didn't make any difference. Turns out that they're just going to put the bike in a not a very useful spot for me. Normally the bike comes very, very close to you, but one or two locations they just won't do it. And this is one of them. Not a huge problem, just annoying that they don't make it a little bit closer. So that's one done. It took about 5 minutes to clear the ambush and then do the first delivery, or sorry, clear the ambush, get back to the second bike, or effectively the first delivery bike. But now each bike drive is only about 5 miles or less, so 5 minutes per bike, 3 bikes left to go, easily done within the half hour they've given you. This is kind of a fun one to do with friends, but there's no problem doing it solo. It's not a difficult mission. I just changed my mind there and decided I'm going to go for the one in the hills just to finish the drive on this one. And this is why I didn't want to go all the way into the city, because I wasn't sure if I was going to get this drop, which indeed I did. So instead of driving all the way into the city, I'm actually heading back out towards the west coast. it would have just been more driving for no benefit. Didn't really save a lot, did it? Well, as long as I don't hit a tree, I'm good. Too many hills in the way. Oh, thank you for doing that little turn there. Okay, now we're back on Route 68. Wow, he's standing still. Judging from the position of the sun, I'm going to guess it's about 8:30 in the evening by now. Let's have a look at the telephone. 7:20. So it'll be dark before I get this whole lot delivered. This time I'm not going to bother running over there because I know it's not going to work. Jump up on these pallets, over the fence, scramble down the hill gracefully, and put it a little bit further away. And there's a little bumper hill there, you can see clouds just behind it. That's where I'm headed for. I think this particular cocaine location, is one of the best locations in the game for an MC business, because it's very, very easy to spot in a couple of different ways. There's a hill near it which marks it out. There's a little loop on the road. So there's the hill to our right, just past this bridge. There's this loop, it's very distinctive now by the sea. And it's kind of tucked away where people don't tend to wander around and notice it. Dark now. Sunset in about 6 or 7 minutes. Ooh, that was close. And here we are on Route 68. So this is a very good road. Once we had the correct location for the drop, it's a very straightforward drive, very, very easy. I always feel annoyed at LJT, the guy who gives you the missions for this, because he seems airy, breezy every time I know he's sending me into an ambush, and he never seems to remember that this happens. Whoop, nearly caught the edge of that barrier. This motorbike is, I think, called the Western Bagger, because it has motorbike bags on it, and it's the one that I forget the guy's name. One of the guys has in the solo version of the game. Not Lester, not Mike, the other guy. What's his name? It's not particularly fast, but it does get up to about 55 to 60. So I always reckon on these things, if you think each mile on the clock is going to take you about a minute to get there, so if it's 5 miles, it's going to be 5 minutes to get there. That always seems to be about right, unless you have a crash along the way. The other way this time. Over the fence. Graceful stumble down the bank.
Hey, I'll see you at the accordion workshop.
And off we go. Dark enough now I can't actually see our location, but I know it's going to be down there somewhere. Of course I don't need to see the location. So on the motorbikes you get 4 vehicles, 4 bikes. All the other deliveries you get 3 vehicles. But as you see, the motorbikes are just 1 drive, whereas all the other vehicles are 5 drops each. So it evens out. In fact, motorbikes tend to be a little bit quicker than some of the other missions, even when you've got to deal with an ambush when you get there. I say the best way is to have, ideally, 5 people in the MC, and the 5th one would deal with the ambush, but that's a rare luxury, at least for me, to have 5 people willing to help. 3.3 miles, so that ought to take us down to 10,987 minutes and something seconds. Let's see if that works out. get it perfect, I should do this with about 7.5 minutes left on the clock. Of course, if I have a crash, that'll soak up a bit of time. Looks like I got there faster than I thought. Almost a minute faster. There we are. And again, what I'm going to do immediately is call up on my phone. So I can go to one of my heist locations and not risk a business attack. And then I've got a final sale I can do for my counterfeit cash.